This is the final evening in Cannes. I think when the Golden Palm was handed out to Pulp Fiction, a woman in the audience stood up and said, "What a load of rubbish." And the answer was a gesture with the hands, and that shocked everybody. Maurice Piala was same example. So what are we expecting this evening? We've got an awards ceremony. The 77th Cannes Film Festival is about to wrap up with all of our information that we have to share with you, not just rumors this time. Will there be a scandal on stage? Who knows yet? But here we have Anna Girardot opening the red carpet at the 77th Cannes Film Festival. Final day, final evening. We've got the closing ceremony this evening, and we will be hearing which films have won which prizes very, very soon. I wonder if a woman will win the Golden Palm. Will it be French? Will it be political? There are some very strong films this evening. Yesterday, the film by Mohamed Rasulov really shook the Croisette. The film by Mohamed Rasulov, The Seed of the Sacred Fig. But we also have an Indian film, the first Indian film in 30 years. Payal Kapadia directed All We Imagine as Light. There are political films, The Russian by Serebrennikov, Limonov, The Ballad. There are all kinds of genres. So it'll be interesting to see who is on the red carpet. Anna Girardot is on the red carpet this evening, French actress. You can see her in Le Salaire de la Peur on Netflix. We'll also see which prize has won the Caméra d'Or, the Golden Camera, which is the best first film in any section of the official selection. And there's going to be an honorary Golden Palm for George Lucas, Star Wars, Indiana Jones. He'll be on the red carpet very soon as well. And apparently Francis Ford Coppola, his best friend, or his nemesis, if you like, is still in town as well. The two of them, back in the 70s, they managed to really transform blockbusters and invent a new Hollywood. There's lots of good books written about that movement, the new Hollywood movement. Okay, let's have a bit of a quiz. I'm going to give you some figures here, and you can tell me what the figure corresponds to. Off we go. So let's hope everyone at home is playing. If I say, this is something easy, 24. Well, that's the number of steps that there are outside the festival hall, because their films are in 24 images per second. How about 20,000? 20,000 euros, perhaps, is the price of the golden, or that's the cost of the Golden Palm that's going to be handed out. How many carats is it in gold? 18 carats in 18-carat gold. Costs 20,000 euros. There's one film, Anora, by Sean Baker, and she is given a 4-carat ring, and it seemed to be quite a lot to me, but that's just a fraction of what we're talking about. There's the film about Donald Trump as well, where Donald Trump offers cufflinks to his lawyer, and they're false ones. Oh, cufflinks. Fancy Donald Trump offering his friend cufflinks, and they're just not even real gold. Here we have Gustav Weber, who is a filmmaker. He acted with Pierre Salvados. Mammouth was one of the films. His film was in Un Certain Regard, and he had a special prize for the jury. That was back in 2012. He's an interesting character, and so he's an amazing character. They're very irreverential in his films. So it's nice to work with rebels, says the director Dujardin Adjani as well, known to be a bit rebellious. So there are many people on the red carpet this evening. Let's get back to the figures. What about 89? The number 89. Well, 1989 or 89? No, we're just talking about 89. What can 89 be? Perhaps it's the number of nationalities represented here at the festival? Yes, that's right, the number of nationalities. And let's finish off with the number 1. Well, what can that be? How many golden palms are there? No, that's not right. An Indian film, the first Indian film in competition for 30 years. Well, and there's also, we could say that there's one animation film in the competition. It's Michel Hazanavicius, and the title is The Most Precious of Cargoes. So it's not surprising, really, because the Ghibli studio received an honorary Golden Palm, the famous Japanese studio Ghibli, which have created many, many great works. Many of the works which are available on Netflix, for example, to name but that one. And there's a lovely film called Flow, which was in Un certain regard, an animation film all about a cat and a Noah's Ark and a dog, I believe. So that makes our mouth water. So we've had quite a few surprises at the festival. There have been some little tremors here and there, not quite an earthquake, but it all began with Jacques Audiard last Saturday. He was the first kind of bomb, I suppose. That was a Spanish film, a musical, and then we saw the film from America by Sean Baker and Nora, which is doing very well. It's got a very high score by the foreign press and the French press. And there was quite a lot of blood scattered by Corélie Farja. And we've got Demi Moore as well in that film, The Substance. And so the final film, the Iranian film, which was screened last night, which really did move everybody when Mohammed Rasulov was on the red carpet, and he'd brought with him 2 photos of 2 of the actors in the film who are still in Iran. They could not flee the country as the director had. There was another highlight when he embraced the other Iranian film. He's Danish and Iranian at the same time, and they met and embraced. That was Ali Abazi, and of course we've also got a Portuguese director, first time in competition, not his first time here, but his first time in competition, and I thought his film was absolutely excellent. He's called Miguel Gomes, and his film is called Grand Tour, and so one might hope that he will be getting a prize. I think the press wasn't bowled over by the Grand Tour, but it was more popular among the international press than the French press. So let's see what the foreign press would vote in. Well, there's the Iranian film that we're talking about, The Seed of the Sacred Fig. There's Anora by Sean Baker, and there's Grand Tour by Miguel Gomes. So that's what the international press are going for. And then after that, there's the Corélie Farja film. I wonder if she might win it. Well, we'll have to see. It's a French film. The director is French, but the film, The Substance, starring Demi Moore, is in fact American, or it's financed by the Americans. So is it a French film or is it an American film? Who knows? So let's wait and see. We'll learn this afternoon who is going to win the Golden Palm, who's going to win all of the different prizes. Will it be a film with a monster? Julia Corneau said when she won her prize for Titanium, she said thank you to the Cannes Film Festival for allowing monsters to enter into the competition. And that is a phrase which Corélie Farja could have taken very much to heart, because her film is a bit monstrous, really. It's a film which has got a good score. It's called The Substance, starring Demi Moore, directed by Coralie Facha. Last year, if we remember, it was Justine Triet and Anatomy of a Fall. She went on to get an Oscar. And so it's Anatomy of a Fall. And before that, it was Ruben Östlund's The Triangle of Sadness. Before that, it was Titanium. And so there we go. A Parasite in 2019. That was a real big success among the audience, among the public, of course, because it's important to explain that a good palm, according to Thierry Frémaux, Delegate General of the festival, a good palm is a palm that gets people going to the movies. So there are some juries which didn't really abide by that. Happy Chatpong with Uncle Bunmi, that was voted the Golden Palm, but it didn't work in the movie houses. It was a very experimental film, a beautiful film, but it didn't work. It wasn't commercial. So are we going to aim for a screenplay where the story is interesting, or does the jury go for an experimental film? So all will be revealed later on. But let's hope that the jury don't overanalyze when they're making their decisions, because I think it's got to be really instructive. That's true, but on the other hand, we are talking about an industry here, and I think one of the goals has to be to get people into the cinema. So when they're at the festival, I wonder if the jury members can read the newspapers, read the industry press. Well, I can't imagine them being forbidden from doing that. They've all got telephones. Perhaps they're checking what the critics say. But I know that here in Cannes, we're not allowed to interview the jury members about what they've seen at the very beginning of the festival. TV Festival can speak to them and ask them what they're looking forward to, talk about their experience, but we're not allowed to ask them questions about what they're saying in their discussions. We've seen quite a few of the jury members here on the red carpet during the fortnight. Kore Eda has been here, Omar Sy, Greta Gerwig. They've all been here on the red carpet for some films in competition, but also out of competition, because the jury members, as we all know, are real cinema fans, movie fans. They can see the films they're judging either with an audience or in a private screening, because who knows, they might be influenced by what the crowds around them are saying, whether they're booing or clapping, for example. So they've got the choice. They can either go and see the film with the crowds, or they can have a personal, private screening. And of course, we've always been very attentive to how long the standing ovations have lasted when the lights go up after the screening of a film. So some films have been really applauded for a long, long time. I think 12 minutes might be the maximum. So I've got a question here. Over the past 10 years, what would be your favorite Palm-winning film? Well, that's a good question. I think if I look over the 10 last years, my favorite would be 2014 Winter's Sleep by Nuri Bilge Ceylan, Turkish director, whose wife, and who is also his screenwriter, co-screenwriter, she is in the jury. Ebru Ceylan, Turkish actress and screenwriter. So it was it was a success in the movies, despite the fact that it was a very long film. But Nuri Bilge Ceylan always creates poetic films, and that was the case. How about you? Well, I really like Parasite. I showed it to my 15-year-old son a short while ago, and he loved that. So that was a very popular film, Parasite. And I also liked the Blue is the Warmest Colour. That was in 2013. But we were talking about the past 10 years, so Blue is the Warmest Colour falls just outside the period, so that's disqualification. Anatomy of a Fall wasn't a bad choice. That was a very good one. That was a really good commercial success, absolutely outstandingly successful for a Golden Palm. So let's have another question about a figure, a statistic. And then we'll let you know what the rumors are saying so that you can get a flavor of what might be happening later on. 4,000 is the number this time. 4,000, is that the number of journalists that have come here? Yeah, journalists from around the world in Cannes. What about the figure 80,000? 80,000 as a figure, that's a big number. Square meters of red carpet? I think there might not be that many square meters. 80,000 festival goers. That's a lot of people coming to Cannes for the film festival. The Lumière movie theatre can accommodate 2,300. I wonder where the rest of them went. 200 million. What could that figure correspond to? 200 million euros? I think this must be the economic spin-off for the city of Cannes. What about 35 million? That is the budget of the Cannes Film Festival. People often say that culture is costly, but it does bring in the dollars as well for all the restaurants, the hotels, the bars, etc. What about the figure 4? I think we've already had 4. It's the number of women in competition this year. Is that a big number? Is it a small number? Well, it's growing, let's say. It could be higher. It's in the higher averages when we take a look in past years. There have been previous years. In the 90s, I think there were 3, but usually the women directors are the exceptions that prove the rule. Let me give you another figure. There are 29 films directed by women in the official selection this year, compared to 31 last year. So the figure's gone down a little bit, which is a very negative thing for us all. Oh, look, there's Laurent Lafitte. He is on the red carpet. He's going to sign some autographs. We've seen him several times on the red carpet, particularly for The Count of Monte Cristo. He plays the role of the baddie in The Count of Monte Cristo, the film which was not in competition. As a blockbuster, an adventure film, starring also Pierre Ninet, and among the Count of Monte Cristo's enemies, there is Laurent Lafitte. Looks quite angelic there, but in the film he plays a baddie. Bastien Bouillon is also in that film. So the actor who you can see on the screen has just left the Comédie Française. So his name is Laurent Lafitte. He directed a film and he brought it to Cannes. It was a comedy, a crazy comedy. I think it was called The Origins of the World. A very funny film. An actor who began as a stand-up comic, who took singing lessons, music lessons in London, and he played the role of Molière for Olivier Py. And Laurent Lafitte has quite an unusual bow tie. Look at this. This is Wim Wenders who's on the red carpet. He's got an unusual neck tie there. Is it a tie or is it just a collar? He's got an unusual arrangement around his neck. That's Wim Wenders, The Wings of Desire, Paris, Texas. And last year, Perfect Days, which got Best Actor prize. It's all about a man in Tokyo who was in charge of the toilets, these very modern architectural toilets that have been reinvented, redesigned. And that film was a huge success, a very philosophical film. He also made a documentary on his colleague, a German artist. Very nice documentary there. Laurent Lafitte, and yes, he does have a rather unusual bow tie on. Now this evening, we are going to have a shower of stars on the red carpet. And people are waiting to see us. We are being begged to go on the red carpet. And we're getting some information through now about who is on the red carpet. So let's share the secret. So teams from the winning films are called slightly ahead of the ceremony, and they're told to be here, but they don't know which prize they're getting. So we're starting to know who has been called back because they've been seen at airports, or they've been seen in the town, etc. And so the first piece of information is that Demi Moore has not handed in her official dress, just in case. So are you saying that she's going to wear the same dress? I'm sure they could spare her a second dress. I'm sure she's got a whole bunch of dresses. But anyway, she hasn't handed in her sparkly dresses, just in case. So could she be in the running for the Best Actress? Well, that would be good news, because there are quite a few potential Best Actresses in the competition. The competition is very, very stuffed. However, if we were to choose between the 4 female directors, that might be tricky. So it's been harder to identify a Best Actor. We haven't got too much information about that. We don't really have any notions about that, who's going to be the Best Actor. Oh, I got a bit of a notion, but they haven't had him brought back, the one I was thinking of. Who are you thinking of? I was thinking about Sebastian Stan from The Apprentice. That was he played Donald Trump when he was a lad. Yeah, he did a really good turn there, but I think some of the critics felt that the biopic was a bit too literal. However, let's not forget that it's not the film critics who decide who wins which prize, and that's just as well, really. But we do have a head of the jury, Greta Gerwig, who loves French films.
So we also have people from Anora here, about this lap dancer that meets a young oligarch or son of an oligarch, and it's a film which is funny, very touching, very intelligent. It's the film which is the best scored for the time being by the foreign press, and we've been told that the whole team would be back for an award that concerns the film. And so maybe it could be a jury prize, it could be a best director. It would be a Palme d'Or that would be very popular in the theatres. I think I saw you on the beach earlier on, Olivier. Yes, but I didn't have my palm with me. Yes, but we're on the beach, and I saw her at the beach, Olivier. And what did we see? Elle Fanning, who we've just seen. And here we have Andy McDowell. And we saw the actor from Motel Destino, from Karim Aynouz's film. And so Elle Fanning. And of course you saw him, he was dancing on the beach, but there you saw him naked during 2 hours in the film. But Elle Fanning, who started very young, sister of Dakota Fanning. Elle Fanning, that we've seen here. Neon Demon was in Cannes, wasn't it, from Nicholas Winding Refn. She's in this very stylized film. She was a member of the jury, Elle Fanning. She was in Twixt with Coppola, and there was with Sofia Coppola as well in The Prey and Somewhere. I think she's in somewhere. A film that won an award from the hands of Arnaud Desplechin, who was president of the jury in Venice. No, somewhere was the father in the hotel with the car. Do you remember that? He was a bit bored. I would totally like in Coppola, when you're a character in Coppola's films, and he was skidding around in Sofia Coppola's films. So a beautiful film. We're talking about Desplechin because it's one of the references of Greta Gerwig. We'll come back on this. And so who else could we have? The Palme d'Or, the Iranian, perhaps. There's Mélanie Laurent on the red carpet. Mélanie Laurent, Breathe director, actress, producer. She was in with Tarantino, of course, in Inglourious Bastards. She played the director of, the manager of cinema. Mélanie Laurent, which made a film that can be seen on Netflix with our friend Adèle Exarchopoulos, called Voleurs, Thieves, an action film. So we're going to repeat ourselves. Who is going to get an honorary Palme d'Or at this closing ceremony? No, it's not Messi, the dog from Anatomy of a Fall. It's George Lucas. Haven't you got the George Lucas quiz? So George Lucas, a figure of New Hollywood. We've seen figures. It was very touching. The red carpet for Francis Ford Coppola with his granddaughters for Megalopolis. He was here this morning. Coppola was here for Nicineum. And it's to give the honorary Palme d'Or for George Lucas. There's Paul Schrader as well, the writer of Raging Bull, of Taxi Driver, and a director as well. He's presenting a film in competition, O candidate. And of course Richard Gere could maybe get a Best Actor award. And so the return of actors from the 90s, Demi Moore, Richard Gere. If it was Demi Moore for Best Actress, that would be sending out a very strong signal to actresses that are complaining that they become invisible when they get older. This would be a signal for this popular actress from the 1990s. But things aren't changing. I made a documentary with Rosanna Arquette. She called me to film some scenes here in Cannes. For Rosanna Arquette, there's another award, which would be the Best Actress for the trans actress in Jacques Audiard's film. He said, or it could be a collective award too for Emilia Perez, which wouldn't be quite as powerful a statement, but all three of them are pretty outstanding in this. And there were a lot of questions about femininity, the female. You talked about Demi Moore. It could be a double award with Margaret Qualley, who plays her double in the film. I'm not going to give you the story of the film here, but we've just seen Andie MacDowell. Maybe Andie MacDowell is here for that. But in the film, Demi Moore signs a pact with the devil. She injects this substance, and there is another her that emerges from her, and this other her is played by Margaret Qualley. And And so it would be interesting to see the award for these two actresses. Well, that's a pretty good idea. Yes, you've got good ideas. Okay, so a little quiz. A George Lucas quiz. What was George Lucas's nickname when he was at school? No, you know? No, you don't know? Go on. So, Indiana Smith, Luke, or Giorgio the liar? No, it's not. It's not Indiana Smith. That was going to be the name for Indiana Jones, because the producer of Indiana Jones, he wanted to make a sort of James Bond but an adventurer, and he said, we'll call him Indiana Smith, and Spielberg said, okay, but let's call him Indiana Jones instead. I think there was already a Nevada Smith, so I think it's Luke, and I think that's what gave him the idea for Luke Skywalker. Well done. So do you think he's going to be coming in a flying saucer? In a robot? Maybe, or dressed as Darth Vader. I am not your father, Olivier. We've got one of the Daft Punk here on the red carpet. We've had the Daft Punk here on the red carpet, but with the helmets on. So another question, what was the name of George Lucas's dog, the one that inspired Chewbacca there, the Star Wars character? So, I've got 3 proposals, Victor. Was it Bernard, Indiana, or Snoop? It's Indiana. Yep, you're too good. Yes, we had a very good red carpet with Indiana Jones. So I've got a third one, a bit more intelligent, but all this information is very interesting, all this trivia. So I wrote all this by hand and I can't reread what I've said. What doesn't George Lucas want to see on his film posters? 3 proposals. The color blue, which he hates because his first love of his life was had blue eyes. The figure 13, because he's superstitious. Or quotes from reviews and critics, you know, fantastic film, things like this. So there's only 3 proposals. So I would say blue seems a little outrageous. 13 could be true, but I'd say, yeah, go on, 13. Well, no, not at all. It's the quotes from critics. George Lucas, who we've seen many times here in Cannes, out of competition for Star Wars Attack of the Clones in 2002, Star Wars 3 Revenge of the Sith in 2005. And what was his first big success? I think it was THX 1138. And that's not his biggest success. His first success was American Graffiti. So, ahead of Star Wars and everything, American Graffiti? No, his first success. So I said his first, but you're not listening to what I say, Victor. So it goes in one ear and out the other, as my mother would say. So, well, hello to your mother if she's listening. Hélène. She is probably sitting in front of her TV screen. And she shouts every time you make fun of me, Victor, or every time you insult me. She gets very angry. So, Olivier, what we've forgotten to say is that there is the Palme d'Or for the best short film in competition. So we've seen already the directors of the short film selected. We've got the press attaché of the Iranian film. We'll see if there's anything here. So Rachel, you're the press attaché of the Iranian film. Have you got an idea of his place in the awards? So I mean, if you're here, there must be something. Silence. No, Rachel is not giving the game away. But this is really something that shook up the festival. Mohamed Rasulov, who escaped from his country. His passport had been confiscated. He fled the country. He left some of the crew from the team behind. This was a fortnight ago. And we didn't know whether he would be able to come. And so it was a very dangerous journey. He wanted to escape from a 5-year prison sentence to take part for having, and of course added to lashes as well. But and what's fantastic is to see that the film is a major film and not just a political film. I mean, the two are intertwined, which is fantastic. It's there's a real incredible film, you know, and so that's why we think that he probably will have something tonight. Some people are thinking very high, but it's difficult to know. What we do know is that they are here, and not everybody, because some members of the team, including the lead actors, couldn't leave Iran. So there's another film that we're waiting for that could be rewarded. It's the Indian film, All We Imagine as Light, the first Indian film in the competition for the past, since 30 years ago. It's a film produced by Petit Chaos in France, based in Orléans. 2 young people, Julien Graff and Thomas Hakim, specialized in Indian films. Or no, it's their first fiction. First film in Cannes, first fiction. And with the emergence of this new voice. And there is Vicky Krieps on screen, the great Vicky Krieps. She was in Corsage 2 years ago in Un Certain Regard. She was in Mathieu Amalric's film in Un Certain Regard on the loss of a child. And she was in The Phantom Thread with Daniel Day-Lewis, a very chilling film on fashion. She was the muse of this fashion guru, and they had a very perverted relationship, and she is a member of the Un Certain Regard jury this year. And it's finished now, because they gave the awards last night. So you see how I'm trying to catch things up from you. And it was Black Dog, a Chinese film, another dog film. It didn't get the Palme d'Or because the Palme d'Or went to Cosmos, the dog of Dog on Trial, from and by Laetitia Doche, and Snoop. Last year, of course, there was who was in Anatomy of a Fall, which won the Palme d'Or and the Palme d'Or. And so another film which won a film in Un Certain Regard, an excellent French film called 20 Dieux, the youth prize about the farming world. And it's, we're in the world of cheese making. It's a story of a child who loses his fathers and who has to make the best cheese possible, the best Comté cheese, and he falls in love with the milkmaid. And Vicky Krieps on the red carpet. When she got her acting award, she was in another film, in A Certain Regard, which was more than ever, plus que jamais, the last film of Gaspard Ulliel before his terrible skiing accident. And as we're talking about Gaspard Ulliel, who we miss a great deal, he was in the film which won the Grand Prix, Just the End of the World, by Xavier Dolan, who was the president of Un Certain Regard this year. He was in Saint Laurent by Bonello, which was in competition a few years ago. Gaspard Ulliel. So, who will win the Palme d'Or of the 77th Cannes Film Festival? This is a question that everybody's asking, and all the other awards. There's not just the Palme d'Or, Victor. Yeah, but that's the challenge. Will it be a woman? Will it be a French person? Will it be an Iranian? A political film, a genre film? All sorts of questions that we're wondering about, and some of the crews are here. Lubna Azabal, who is the president of the short films jury, because there is a Palme d'Or for the short film, best short film, and she was with Denis Villeneuve in Incendie, adapted from the play by Weshti Mowad. So Claudine Nougare on the right of the screen, who is the wife of Raymond Depardon and the co-director in a way. She plays a crucial role in the development of her husband's documentaries, Raymond Depardon, and so she has her place here. We have great admiration for her. There's Marie Castine, who's here, who directed Les Héritiers with Ariane Ascaride. The woman with the ginger hair there next to Claudine Nougare.
So here we have George Lucas on the red carpet. Here he is, the man is in the place. With his shiny hair, his lovely white shock of hair, George Lucas, the man who we can thank for Star Wars, the man who also made blockbusters famous again and popular again. Back in the 70s and the 80s, he was defending blockbusters, and here he is receiving an honorary Golden Palm, and it is rumored that Francis Ford Coppola may be handing it to him. So the two men know each other and have known each other for a long time. So George Lucas is very cautious, introverted, whereas Coppola is the opposite. They're kind of black and white and chalk and cheese. They're very different from each other. George Lucas will be on the red carpet any second now to play along with the photographers. In the meantime, we have J.R., artist, photographer, who worked with Agnès Varda towards the end of the latter's life. So J.R. has been covering buildings, famous and infamous, with his photos. And so Village Village was a film which he made with Agnès Varda, and it was screened a couple of years ago here in Cannes. It was kind of an amazing couple. They traveled the country together, taking photos. There was even a moment when they were looking for Godard, who Agnès hadn't seen for a long, long time. But there we go. But he had been part of the New Wave, and she was as well. She was the wife of Jacques Demy. Jacques Demy was kind of surprised by what he was doing. And here you heard a shout from the audience because we have George Lucas on the red carpet. He loves European film as well. He was a fan of the New Wave as well. He loved all of those films, Jules Léger, Ma Bout de Souffle. He was a fan of Fellini, or he's a fan of Fellini as well. So it's quite lovely to see the reaction that the photographers are having there, and the crowd as well, everyone shouting out his name. George Lucas, 1938, which was produced by Francis Ford Coppola. Then there was American Graffiti, of course, which enabled him to have a producer for Star Wars, because no one was very interested in it. Everyone thought it was going to be a flop. And when you think now to what Star Wars has been, well, you know what I mean. He too started a production company with Coppola as a film studio, and he worked a lot on sound. He says that sound and special effects account for 50% of a film. That's without mentioning the screenplay. That's just to say how much he has invested such a lot of money to incorporate technology into the movies. Just remember the first special effects in Star Wars? So a lot of progress has been made. And Xavier Dolan is also going to be on the red carpet in a minute as well. But in the meantime, let's concentrate on George Lucas. And he worked with John Lasseter, famous director of animation films. And they founded what became the ancestor of Pixar. It was called Lucasfilm Computer Division, and it became Pixar, which was bought out by Disney after that. Oh, you can hear the Star Wars music in the background. George Lucas has a lot to answer for. Now, I think more or less everybody's a fan of the Star Wars sagas. More or less, or at least everybody knows about it. The philosophy, good, evil, science fiction, a bit of a genre, really. There we have Jacques Audiard, who's on the red carpet. So that confirms the rumors that we heard. I'm sure he's not going to be here for no reason. Perhaps his film Emilia Perez might be winning something. So let's stay with George Lucas for the time being. But some of the filmmakers come back to the red carpet. So here we have George Lucas, who has already won a trophy for the whole of his career in 2005. This time it's an honorary Golden Palm after Meryl Streep and the Ghibli Studios. And he's in the company of JR for some reason. They're all being welcomed by Iris Knobloch and Thierry Frémaux, being acclaimed by the crowd. And some of his Star Wars were in fact screened in Cannes, out of competition of course. Revenge of the in 2005. It's quite moving to see him here, looking fit and healthy, following in footsteps of Coppola and Schrader, all of those directors who reinvented Hollywood, who got round American censorship, which meant that men and women weren't allowed to kiss on the screen. And so they smashed all of that, and they created films which could have been a bit bloody, which were very shocking. But there he is, calmly greeting the crowd. He looks rather like a president there. He's a rather presidential character. Vote for George. And we can see which cars are drawing up, and we can tell you that an actress, the actress from the film Emilia Perez by Jacques Audiard, is also on the red carpet. So we've got the director and we've got the actress there. If you think back to Diepan 2015, there was a Grand Prix for Jacques Audiard. So there we are. Oh, who else is there? Who else is down there? Oh, that's Xavier Dolan on the screen, of course. He is the president of the Un Certain Regard jury president. And as we know, his career started here in Cannes with I Killed My Mum in the director's fortnight. It was the first film made with a tiny budget, all about a teenager's relationship with his mum. He also did the film Mummy, which got a prize here. There was Lawrence Anyways, which was in Un Certain Regard. I think Xavier Dolan is the typical example of someone who's come to Cannes, gone through the different sections to eventually being in competition. I've heard him be very, very angry, expressing that it took him such a long time to get into the main competition. So he didn't get into the main competition immediately. Lawrence, anyways, is quite a feminist film. I think Melville Poupeau was playing one of the roles there. So here we have members of the jury at the bottom of the red carpet there. Who have we got there? Oh no, that's Sean Baker, film director there. The film Anora. We are sure Anora's going to get something. The team is on the red carpet. Sean Baker from America. Might he get the Golden Palm for a magnificent film? What could it be apart from the Golden Palm? Could be Best Director, Best Screenplay. And we've got Jacques Audiard and his actress, who plays the role of Emilia Perez. Jacques Audiard for the film Emilia Perez, Spanish language. The film was partly shot in France, but the main action takes place in Mexico. The other actresses from the film are not there. The actress that was undergoing a transition, and that was the whole subject of their discussion. Audiard wanted an actress, a trans actress, because we're talking about that in the film. And she wanted to play both roles, the role before the transition and after the transition, and Audiard wasn't too keen about that to begin with. She didn't want her to play the drug dealer as well. I think he was a bit surprised that the actress would ask him that. So a Best Actress award would be absolutely amazing. This would be the first transgender actress to get a Best Actress award. And seeing as she is the only one to be with Jacques Audiard, that could be a hint. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Sean Baker is also on the red carpet. Jacques Audiard. He got a Golden Palm for Diepan. He was also on Read My Lip. He also directed Read My Lips with Vincent Cassel and Emmanuel Devos. It was a film which won prizes here in France as well. Jacques Audiard also directed The Olympiads, The Sisters and Brothers. We've talked about Diepan, which dates back to 2015. A Prophet, of course. Let's not forget that one. Yeah, The Sisters Brothers was a Western. But there we have Sean Baker on the red carpet, American filmmaker who could be in for a prize, of course, perhaps a Grand Prix. Well, perhaps a Palm or a Grand Prix. And that would perhaps be going hand in hand with the Iranian film, I would say. That's where my money is. Sean Baker is there with his entire team. Is the actress there? Who have we got there for the film? Anora. Well, we've got the baddies. It's a hilarious film. Slightly worrying and a bit deep as well. And it stars Mikey Madison, the female actress. I'm not sure that she's in the lineup there, but there's Yuri Borisov and Mark Edelstein. So it's a bit like a story of Cinderella, an escort girl who marries a rich man, and it makes us think about relationships between men and women after the Me Too movement, or during the Me Too movement. It's not over yet. So that's Sean Baker and his crew. He could be in for a prize, jury prize, best screenplay. That would make sense because the story is funny, it's tight, and Sean Baker has moved from genre to genre. We've seen that with quite a lot of the filmmakers here. Of course, and that's why Jacques Audiard is so strong, because it's a comedy, it's a musical, it's about transgender, it's about transformation. But Sean Baker is being hugged there by Iris Knobloch. She must know. I think she knows who's getting which prize. I'm not sure whether she knows. Thierry Frémaux must know, because he's the boss. And I'm sure he interacts with the jury. I wouldn't be surprised.
Avec nous ce soir, Michel Bissière, conseiller régional, délégué à la vie artistique et culturelle.
So we have seen Audiard. We've seen the press attaché for the Iranian film by Mohamed Rasulov. We've seen Audiard we've mentioned, Sean Baker we've mentioned, the Demi Moore was not giving her dresses back. The press agency of Mohamed Rasulov. What about the Indians? The rumor was going around that Payal Kapadia might be in for something. The Indian film title, All We Imagine as Light. We haven't seen them. Oh, here we have Mohamed Rasulov on the red carpet. The Iranian director of The Seed of the Sacred Fig. Of course, he is one of the favorites because of his own personal experience. He fled Iran just a few days ago, walked across mountains, landed in Germany, came through to France. His film was screened, and the cinema critics were very positive in their reaction. Who knows what it's going to get? Jury prize, Grand Prix, or a palm. So that's Mohamed Rasulov, who has escaped a prison sentence, really. And if we listen to the critics, or we read what the critics are writing, they think he's going to get a palm. But as we know, it's not the critics who decide. Neither do we. It's only the jury members who decide, that's all. And who do we have on the floor there? Oh, what about India? Has George Lucas brought his dog? No, I can't see any dogs on the red carpet. There are some of the Golden Camera jury members there. I think they're preparing to go up the steps. We can see Emmanuelle Béat, her blonde hair, co-president with Balogi, who's there with his hat on. So they're from the Caméra d'Or jury. Balogi is a singer and a filmmaker. So we can see Pascal Buron, who's also in the Golden Camera jury. So there we go. We've got members of the Caméra d'Or, the Golden Camera jury, on the red carpet. Balogi, Emmanuelle Béat, and Pascal Buron we've recognized so far. Emmanuelle Béat is a great actress. Manon Dessources, for example, Pagnol, the film about the Pagnol book. She's worked with many directors. And I think she even went to Hollywood. She was in the first Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise, and two favorite films with Emmanuelle Béat. Oh, A Heart in Winter with Daniel Auteuil. That was a heartbreaking story. And there are many other films. The daughter of Emmanuelle Béat is called Nelly. Oh, and in fact, Emmanuelle called her daughter Nelly in honor of a film, Nelly and Monsieur Arnaud, which she made. So there we go. And that film got a Caesar over here in France. So many people on the red carpet this afternoon for the closing ceremony of the 77th Cannes Film Festival.
Avec nous ce soir,
Here we
le
go.
jury de la caméra
Emmanuelle Béat and Balogi on the red carpet, co-presidents of the Caméra d'Or jury.
à leur côté,
In a film called La Conquête, we had a very famous director of photography.
et Pascal Buron. Le jury de la caméra
So here we have the Caméra d'Or jury. We saw the co-presidents, Balogi and Emmanuelle Béat. They're stepping forward onto the red carpet. Pascal Buron. So the Caméra d'Or, the golden camera, is for the best first film. You can see the lady with the white hat on. That's Nathalie Chiffley. She's a French journalist. In the background, you can hear a song by Eddie Mitchell, who's been a frequent voice to be heard here on the red carpet at the 77th Cannes Film Festival. Well, there's a film which I haven't yet talked about with Emmanuelle Béat in it, and it caused quite a buzz back in the day. And let's talk about it because we're talking about Portugal. It's Le Temps Retrouvé by Raoul Ruiz. She was in that fabulous film, the adaptation of the final volume of the work by Proust, Le Temps Retrouvé.
So in the jury there is Zoe Witok. Zoe Witok is a young Belgian filmmaker that we saw in 2020 for a curious first film. You remember about Beach that I mentioned, but I talked about it a few days ago, but I want to make sure you're listening. And a film called Jeune Beau. It's the story of a woman who falls in love with an orangutan. No, that's Max Mon Amour with Charlotte Rampling, which was here in competition. No, a circus animal. So Gilles Porte with his camera. And Emmanuelle Béat is, of course, she made a documentary on incest. It's called Un silence si bruyant, loud silence, deafening silence. And so Rasulov's film, the crew is there. Are those that could be here with us. And so Rasulov's film, a great film, a political film, which starts with the revolt of young women wanting to take off their veils, and there is this magistrate who's given a gun for his protection, and the gun disappears. He accuses his wife, his daughters, but it's a social debate, a social discussion. It takes place within the family, within four walls, and it ends with them chasing after each other. It's a magnificent film. So this closing ceremony, will it be a woman? It will be the fourth in history, if you forget honorary palms, because there's chain champion, Justine Triet, and Julia Ducournau. Could it be a woman who would be the fourth? Will it be an Indian, because it's the return of India in the competition after 30 years? Will it be for Iran? Will it be France? Here the crew from Mohammed Rasulov, and he's trying to escape he's escaping from a prison sentence, and because he was not in agreement with the regime, Mohammed Rasulov, who fell into the arms of Ali Abbasi, who is an Iran-Danish director, and fantastic photos. And so there are the two lead actors who are blocked in Iran. They can't leave the country. And Mohammed, had to flee the country because of this prison sentence. He's done a number of years in prison because he's outspoken about the government, and he said, no, I'm leaving now. Torn between staying in the country he loves and leaving. Can you hear this song? The karaoke. This is the Cannes Film Festival. You go from one subject to another. There are films which are very serious, which talk about the conditions of population throughout the world, and then you've got the karaoke. So that is Cannes. So we don't know where Rasulov will be in the awards, but we can be fairly sure he's got one. So big news, big news. I talked about somebody's dress, an actress's dress. And here she is, Demi Moore, and it's not the same dress. Drambish that she had a fin on her dress. Greta Gerwig and the jury. And Demi Moore as well. Here they are arriving. And so maybe there will be a scandal, maybe there will be, who knows, because this jury arriving on foot from the Festival Palace. They were in a villa since this morning. They've been talking for hours. Sometimes the Palme d'Or is unanimous. But you said with Jeanne Moreau, Omar Sy, a member of the jury, who came here for Tirailleurs 2 years ago. He was in Chocolat, Untouchable. He's Arsène Lupin as well, an actor who has gone to settle in Hollywood. He was in Jurassic World. Pier Francesco Favino in white, a member of the jury as well. A great Italian actor who has been in Bellocchio's films, in the Traitor, and he was here for the Count of Monte Cristo. Coralie Fargeau and Demi Moore. So if Demi Moore is the best actress, that means that that Emilia Perez, the actress from Emilia Perez, hasn't got it. So it would be unequal. It would be a double palm. And so the subject of the film is about an aging person, an aging woman. So this TV anchor who is fired because she's too old, she could be replaced by somebody younger. And it's very often a subject that actresses defend, the fact that they become invisible over time. So it would be very political by Greta Gerwig, who was the first female filmmaker to make more than $1 billion at the box office with a film. And this was with Barbie. And the Palme d'Or that was given to Adele Exarchopoulos and Léa Seydoux for Blue is the Warmest Color. No, I think this is going to be an equal. And so, no, I mean, there's nothing could be ruled out. But Coralie Fargeau is a French director, but it's an American film because it was shot in English and financed by American money. So my information on Margaret Qualley, of course, is not valid. But maybe she's not here. Maybe she'll be rewarded. Maybe she's got something that stops her from coming. We haven't seen the team from the Indian film. There were lots of rumors going around that they had been called back. Payal Kapadia with All We Imagined As Light, but for the time being, no news. Remind you that Audiard is here with Coralie Fargeau with her actress. We've got the Iranian, with no news of Michel Gomes. There is Sean Baker, who's here. So we're told that the Indian crew went up the steps without us seeing them. So that could confirm our information that, so we're pretty well informed, but that could be an acting award. But I think we've got a lot of actresses. It could be a Grand Prix. It's a film which takes place in Mumbai. It's reminiscent of the French Nouvelle Vague. It could be a best screenplay, but a Grand Prix, there's the jury prize as well. Can you have an equal Palme d'Or? You can share it. Yes, it happened. Yes, of course, with the tin drum and all that jazz and Kurosawa. And so an American film, and an Iranian film, equal. That would be quite a statement. For the time being, the jury is getting in their place. There's Koreeda, director of Family Affairs. There is Nadine Labaki. There is Greta Gerwig, and of course, the director of Little Women with Meryl Streep, Omar Sy. What are they thinking? They know everything. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall to hear their discussions with Omar Sy, Greta Gerwig. There is of course, Ebru Celan. There is Pier Francesco Pavino and Juan Antonio Bayona. We haven't, and Eva Green, and Scorsese's actress, the first Native American to be nominated for the Oscars, Lily Gladstone, and of course, who was in The Killers of the Flower Moon with Robert De Niro, Leo DiCaprio. so Greta Gerwig could give an award to a French film. She loves French film. She saw Desplechin's Christmas Tale. So The Carnival of the Animals more than 10 times. So The Carnival of the Animals, composed at the end of the 19th century, but it's an emblem of the Cannes Film Festival, which is here for every red carpet for each first step of the films, but before the screening of each film, and you've got steps coming out of the water as a little sort of teaser, if you like, before Eva Green, Greta Gerwig, daughter of Marlène Jobert, who has a career in the US, in James Bond, in The Three Musketeers. So Milady of The Three Musketeers, and in Tim Burton's films too. There's Corrieda on the right, Nadine Labaki. She won an award for Capharnaum, and Juan Antonio Bayona, who directed The Orphanage. And Nadine Labaki, of course, directed Caramel. So we haven't seen the Portuguese film here. That's a bit of a disappointment. Maybe they have gone up the steps earlier along the side. So an adaptation of David Bowie, a cover of David Bowie by Zoé de Sagazan in Noé Baumbach's film. There was a quotation of a quote from Léos Carax with Denis Lavant running, and so this apprentice choreographer Greta Gerwig could of course love this music, and Zoé de Sagazan sang this song at the beginning of the festival. And Greta Gerwig was almost in tears. Lydie Gladstone, Pier Francesco Favino, Eva Green, Nadine Labaki. Will there be a shook speech? Will it be like last year, a political discourse, a political speech from Justine Triet? Or will it be the finger like Tarantino? Will it be insults like Maurice Pialat? No, the films aren't really provocative, polemic films. But Cannes is a place of passion. When you hear rubbish, rubbish being shouted. But with Coralie Farja, some people fainted. But that was the case of Titane. A number of people in the audience had to be helped during some of the screenings because the film was. I mean, there was one point where she broke her nose, and by hitting her head against her sink. And so Titane with Vincent Lindon, who played a fireman, and he had to muscle up to take on this role. We haven't talked about all the members of the jury, have we? Yeah, we can repeat stuff if you want. Perhaps a word about Ebru Ceylan, wife of Nuri Bilge Ceylan, who co-wrote Winter Sleep, 2014, a marvelous film. And she started in acting in her husband's films. So traditional kiss. Iris Knobloch, President Thierry Frémaux, General Delegate of the festival. In a few moments, the ceremony is going to begin, and we'll know who is going to win the Palme d'Or 2024. Greta Gerwig knows. Do you think they're all a bit stressed? No, I think she must be very happy with her award, with her prize. And it's the end of the festival as well, at the end of this collective adventure. I mean, you know, it must be a little sad. And this is what I feel with you, Olivier. A little heartbroken. So I'm going to have to slip away. We've seen several people here tonight. We know that they will all be in the awards, but we don't know where. So who could win Best Actor Award? Maybe they won't give one this year. 2 women's prizes, so we've seen actresses, so no male actor. There was no outstanding performance. I mean, it's not easy. Which prize for Sean Baker and Honora? What award for the Indian film? What award for the Iranian film? But there's there are people missing. Screenplay, director, Grand Prix, jury prize, Palme d'Or, best actor, best actress. That's 7 prizes. And normally you're not allowed to have several prizes for the same film. But sometimes the jury does what they want. Remember that there were double jury awards with Xavier Dolan and Godard, with Just End of the World and the Book of Language. Omar Sy and Iris Knobloch. Koreeda, the Japanese master, who was here last year for his film Innocence, which won the Best Screenplay Award. So there we are. We're not going into the palace with them, but we wish them all good luck. And we will see you later on for the photo calls for all the winners just after the ceremony. See you then.